Thank you. And actually, it's good fit for a slot for this talk because just before Tom talked about Django S Framework, and I'll show you a bit how you can interact with, you can use Django S Framework with Django CMS. As Mark said, I'm Lacopo Spalletti. I'm founder and CTO of Nefila, and I'm one of the Django CMS core developer, and I develop a few other Django and Django CMS applications. These are my contacts. So, basically in the last 5 or 6 years, my career has been entirely around content-centric websites, which are very nice designed, very nice interaction, and very nice visual thing and communication from communication point of view, but from a back-end developer point of view, they're rather boring. You're doing the same stuff on and on and on. So times are really changing with the new way to interact between the browser and the back-end. And the major pain is about the click, reload, click, reload, click, reload cycle. And I really want to get rid of this. And you can actually right now do this in single-page application and other architecture where the user interacts with the browser-side interface, typically JavaScript, and then the interface does things, read and writes from a backend, and the user is shown the outcome without any apparent reload of the page. So it's basically 3-tier architecture again since the 90s, but right now, from a CMS point of view, the web is still in the 80s. So what if you mix single-page applications and a CMS? Well, you can actually have nice things like desktop notifications, real-time content updates, and frictionless interaction between the website, between the content and the user. Things that are very common in application, but not really that common in content websites. So I'll show you some code of mine, because I've worked on this in the past few months. And I released, as my experiment went on, I released some code, and so I'll show you some of my findings that you can actually use and try yourself. I'll start with channels, which is rather new. I think the alpha is less than 1 year old, but it's really usable, I mean, in terms of released just a few months ago. So, just a quick overview. What's Django CMS? It's one of the most widely used CMS in the Django applications. It has a very simple front-end content editing. It uses template-based page types, so you don't need back-end developers for most of the work, and provides a lot of features that you can reuse in your own applications. And channels, it's basically WebSockets for Django, but it's in fact is mostly a queue system for Django, which is which was built to run synchronous Django code in a synchronous way. And this makes very easy to write channels code and integrate it. There is just a very few changes between the way channels interact with the world and Django. Basically, when you map the channel's route to a URL and the channel's consumer to a view, you're basically done. And the rest is just plain Django. So let's try to build a desktop notification system for a CMS website. I built this little wrapper that helps writing notification for Django applications, and let's see how it works. As you can see on the left, I published the page on the CMS. This desktop notification clicks. I click on the link, and the plugins page is loaded, which was the page I just published. And this is all the code I need to do this. This is just basically a listener to a Django signal. When the page is published, I retrieve all the information I need. I create this dictionary, which is called knock in the Django knocker way. And then sorry, yeah, you can see that. I just send the serialization to the group. Group is how channels interact. Channels and groups are the way channels interact with the clients. Every time a client connects to an endpoint, you can add it to a group or a channel, and then when you put messages on the group or a channel, you can use a simple JavaScript to render it and do whatever you need. This is the consumer that connects the client to the group. The message is the equivalent of a request in a normal Django view. And this is actually the route that client connected to. Then I create the group, and I put in and I add the client to the group. In this way, and this is all I need to do this. When the message is sent to the group, all the clients that has been connected here receive the message, and the JavaScript, this is a very simplistic JavaScript, which creates the data structure that the notification API needs. And then I just create a notification, and then I add an on-click event to allow the user to go straight to the updated page. This is nice. Even nicer is being able to do live blogging without constantly polling the backend for new updates. Channels already provides a sample live blogging application. I adapted it for Django CMS, or actually for Django CMS blog, which is a blog for Django CMS, obviously, which use this live blog plugin, which upon save, when you save the plugin, the plugin is rendered and the message is sent to the group of the connected client. So here on the left, you have the editing interface. I add a first post. Here on the right, you have the client browser. When I send, the post is added. And then if I add more, they are rendered on top of the first one. And the nice thing is that the channel is always on. So if I change something in one of the posts I already written, here is updated in real time. And so doing this is also very easy. Here you just connect the user. This is just a fragment of the consumer, just to display only the important part. The fact is, you can get the post you want to connect, and you create a group out of it and add each client to the group. Then in the save method of my plugin model, I just create the same notification object, and I'll send to the group. And here is the JavaScript code that picks the rendered content, check if a post with the same ID already exists. If it exists, it will be replaced. Otherwise, a new one is created. And from these experiments, I found out that it's quite easy to write channels applications in general and specific for Django CMS or for a CMS in general. And it provides nice ways to interact, for the user to interact and allow to enrich the experience of the user visiting the website. So there are very low-hanging fruits of integration between the two, and it's still a nice way to add something to a normal content website. And what about Django S Framework? I won't go into detail about Django S Framework because Tom Christie explained much better than the REST API, much better than I can do. But what I'm really interested in doing is providing a unified API for websites, single-page applications, and non-web applications. Usually, application doesn't need much content, but still being able to use a lot of the niceties of CMS, which is really focused on providing very easy way for content editors to add content and to edit it, and mixing the two is really a goal of mine, and I wanted to explore what's like. So at the moment, it's very experimental. The channels integration was very easy to write, so they're no-brainer, basically. Mixing a CMS application flow with a REST API, especially the Django CMS flow with the REST API, is not that easy. So at the moment, I wrote this proof of concept application, very rough, very experimental, but there is effort going on to be able to release something more stable and more useful for Django CMS 3.5, so I guess by the end of the year or so. Django CMS REST View is very basic application, has very stupid view set and dumb serializers, and also a sample Angular client, so it's easy to get started using it. Let's see another example. This is a sample website, and as you can see, if you see here, there is no page reload when you click through the different pages, and this is by interacting using the Angular client with this API, which provides list of page and the page instance. And if you see here, you will see HTML, which is the dumb part. As the API has only these 3 endpoints, one that provides the full list of pages with a basic pages metadata, an endpoint for each page, which provide all the page metadata, plus the rendered placeholders content, which is, not really REST thing. And then the menu, which provides the list of pages in a menu structure, which is a bit different than just a list of the pages. So the dumb part is that it just renders HTML, and because currently plugins are not ready yet for being interacted with in a more automatical way, but that's the effort we are going to making for the stable API. The non-dumb part of this experiment is that, as people already knows about Django CMS, knows that in the plugin, which are basically just render template, you can specify JavaScript and CSS you load if you use the plugin, otherwise they are not loaded, which are very easy to implement in the normal rendering HTML template rendering, flow, but it's not that easy to communicate this, to discover this from the plugin template and provide this to an external client. But this API already does this, so you can dynamically load CSS and JavaScript as you load the page, the content of the different pages. And the API provides the page template name, because in Django CMS, each page is linked to a template, to a Django template, which describes the page structure, not only the page design. And by providing this template name to the client, you can actually adapt your template, your page template, to the actual application you're building. So you maybe want to have different different rendering by using the same template name in iOS or in Angular application or whatever. So the client can decide exactly what to do with this content. You may want to hide some placeholders which are not useful in your application and only show something else, or add more HTML. As I said, the scope of this application is very limited by design, because I just wanted to see exactly what can happen in building this REST API. The major features it lacks are form submission, and there is no support for hooks, which are the way Django CMS allows to plug application inside the CMS without using the URL conf. Actually, it extends the Django URL conf, but you can control by using the Django CMS interface, where the application is linked to, and this is currently not possible. You have to implement your custom API to use external applications. Still, it's used in a few projects in production, so it's kind of working for the scope it was built. So to make both applications work together, there is still road to go. Currently, as I said, the major, not issue, but major hurdle to overcome is providing a sensible and simple API for plugin developers to create a serialization of the plugin, because just rendering the plugin is dumb. But providing serialization of a plugin is not something you can create a general interface for, because plugins does a very different kind of thing. There is a text plugin which just renders the HTML, the user input using a text editor, or there is plugin which picks, 10 blog posts and render in whatever way you want. But benefits of this integration are huge, so it's definitely something we are working on. So what's for the future? And it looks very good, because channels is maturing very quickly, is really, I think, basically ready for production, and was very, very well built and very easy to integrate with it. And there is a ton of application already built for channels, and it easily fits in Django CMS flow. So there is great potential to build something exciting for content websites. For Django S Framework, situation is a bit more complex. In 2016, the effort has been mostly around building experiments and try to figure out the best way to match the two worlds. And I guess that starting 2017, we'll be able to build REST-powered Django CMS platforms. So I'm really excited to work on this kind of thing. These are a few of the repositories I used for this presentation. These are the official ones, and these are my experiments. So feel free to. I try to put some documentation on all of them. So if you want to experiment, feel free to do. Thank you for your attention, and grazie. And if you have any question, I'm available.
We've got about 5 minutes to take some questions. I would like to remind everybody to please try and ask good questions. If I hear the phrase, "this is more of a comment than a question," then you will be sent away. So if anyone's got any questions, if you can come up to the microphone and we'll see how many we get through. You can come up to the microphone in the middle, please.
First of all, thank you for a very good talk. My question is, have you done any experiments with mobile devices? How would it work there? Is it performant? And dropping connections, how will handle that?
Well, some of the real-world projects we used are exactly mobile applications built with Ionic, and it works quite well. I mean, the client doesn't really do anything heavy on this side. At the moment, we only worked on connected applications, so we have not used any caching or whatever. But it's just because the scope was not it was not in scope. But it's not that big issue, I guess. The building disconnected applications. I mean, it's just. The problem with this API was most building a sane API on the back end. On the front end is just, you can do whatever you want. The client is just a sample client just to speed up the things. We extended it for these applications. We rewrote it for one of it. So it's very easy to write the client part.
Any more questions? If you can come up to the microphone, please.
Thank you very much for your talk. What you've done sort of reminded me of the back end to what Facebook is doing with its React.js framework. And I wondered how you're doing fits in with what other people are doing.
Well, actually, I'm currently not focusing on front end. I mean, for me, the front end part of the Django CMS residue is just a sample. The important part to me was to build a sane API on the back end. So you can definitely use React to build a client for this API, even for the channels integration. I mean, the front end is not going to be standard in terms of, because there are a lot of different framework and architecture to build the client part, and I'm also not a front-end guy, so I'm not the best person to write a client for this kind of APIs. So definitely there is. I mean, there are a lot of. This is not new things in terms of web technologies. Is the interaction between a CMS and especially Django CMS and these technologies was the goal of my experiments, because CMSs will have to go to that way. I mean, Facebook is huge and it's not a CMS, and users more and more expect that kind of interaction. I mean, the Facebook kind of interaction, even with content websites. And the challenge for a CMS developer is try to provide tools and things to make that available for developers of content websites. I hope I answered.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Time for one more question, Daniela.
Unless anyone else wants to go.
That's you.
Thanks, Jacopo. You mentioned several times how easy it was to integrate these new things into your projects. What does that say about the way that new features are now being developed in the Django ecosystem, also in the Django CMS ecosystem? Because it seems to be very effective and productive for developers like you.
Yeah, it is definitely. I started using Django in 2010, and I really enjoy it because it's, I mean, the thing I like about Django and all the Django applications, they really fit together. They really use the same concepts, and what was very unexpected to me, for example, with channels, is that you don't really have to learn a lot. I mean, you study channels for 1 hour maybe, and then you can write your own custom code. Concepts are very coherent in the different applications, and I think, yeah, I really like the way, especially the Django ecosystem at large, not only the Django project itself, but the whole ecosystem is progressing and building things.
Thank you very much, Jacopo.
Thank you.